Well, hello and welcome to the Psychic Side here on the A1R Psychic Radio Network and Moonstruck TV. I'm your host, John Cappello, and I'm happy to be on the #1 Psychic Radio Network on Earth. And so I'm delighted that you're here to join me today. And what we try to do with this program, if you're new to us, is try to talk about the psychic ability and metaphysical topics that are often misunderstood. And sometimes I feel like I can bring it down to earth and make people understand that it's not so difficult to get involved with psychic ability or tap into it. And so I don't have a guest today because I do have a heavy heart about what's going on in the Middle East. And, last week I mentioned on our program that we're beginning a kinetic time. And I was talking about the U.S. And shortly after the program, I found out we didn't have a Speaker of the House. But so we're entering into a difficult time, but it's not just in the United States, of course, it's in the Middle East. And so I want to wish everyone the best. I'm sorry about the people who were injured or killed in Israel and for all innocent people in that area. I want everyone to have a good outcome. So it's interesting, though, that we've been talking about astrology and we talk a little bit about psychic ability here. And what's interesting is that I've talked to you about the placement of Pluto. Pluto is going direct this week, and we're also going to have a solar eclipse. So this is when the action's going to start. The solar eclipse is going to be in Libra, and from what I was reading about it, it means that there's going to be life's going to change. There's going to be big changes here, and quickly. So within the next week or so, we're going to see some big changes. That's what's being predicted. I'm not necessarily saying that. I hope if there are changes that they're good ones, but we'll just have to see. But during the American Revolutionary period and shortly thereafter, it wasn't just the United States that was in turmoil. There were other places like France that were having a great amount of turmoil. So it's not to be unexpected that other places in the world will be having turmoil. Of course, we have turmoil in Ukraine, and we have it in Israel as well, and the Middle East, and hopefully it's going to be contained, but we'll see. So it just is a time for everyone to try to have cooler heads. I've always said to people, get small and try to stay in control of your immediate surroundings. I'm not going to say panic or anything like that, but I am going to say that it's a time to be somewhat vigilant and somewhat watchful because we have lots of problems and we have people that don't want to accept responsibility and who are ignoring reality. So I'm really concerned about it. So like I was telling you, the solar eclipse part of it is going to go straight over Texas. So we'll see what that's going to bring. But it's apparently going to be in Libra. And the thing about Libra is that that's the sign of politics. If you look at the glyph for Libra, Libra, it has this little line, and then it has this thing that goes up and down. And some people say, that looks like a capital, and so Libra is all about balance, and it's all about trying to negotiate, and it's about it's an intellectual sign. It's a air sign, and but Libra people like to be social, and they're some of the most beautiful people in the world as well. So it's ruled by Venus, and Venetian women, Libra women, and Taurus women too, are considered some of the most beautiful in the world because of that Venetian influence there. But so we have this solar eclipse coming in Libra, and it's going to affect a lot of things. Just because we're seeking balance doesn't mean we're going to have balance, and so we need to all be mindful of that. right now. So I see we have a caller, and it's Brittany in Winnipeg. And Brittany, are you there?
I am here. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. Just at work. How are you?
Fine, fine. Is this the first time you listen to our program?
It is.
Okay, well, I hope that you'll become a regular. So Brittany, is there anything going on in a relationship right now that you're curious about?
I guess a little of everything. There's a lot going on. I am, I guess, single after 3 years and then divorced and currently got like a protection order on somebody else. And so it's not going too
No,
good
my.
actually.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying you've had some relationship issues around you, and what's your birth sign?
My birth sign is a Leo. I am August 4th, 89.
Leo. Okay. Well, it just seems to me that a lot of this stuff you're cleaning up. Leo would be cleaning up things right now because Leo, like the other fixed signs, are getting ready to start a new transformation. Okay, and if you've been listening to the program about all the turmoil that's going on in the world, well, unfortunately, you reflect a little bit of that because you've had a lot of turmoil. You've even had to get the authorities involved. Okay, so this is a
Hmm.
time for you to kind of step back and kind of assess where you are, and maybe do some journaling and do some work to try and minimize any further catastrophes around you. I'm sorry that you haven't found the right person just yet to spend your life with, uh, but um, but this is a time for self-reflection for you, and this is a time to find some inner peace. Okay, this is a time to maybe do some meditating. I don't know if you do any yoga or anything like that, but this is a time to
No.
get centered. To get centered. Okay, so things are going to get better for you. It looks like to me, but don't be shy if you have to make some tough decisions. So if someone has to go to jail because they're bothering you, then they got to go to jail. So don't give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, you said leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone, and and if they don't leave you alone, then do something. I mean, if you don't, I'm not trying to be mean to you, but it'd be your fault. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah, I
it's
know.
and if you look at the bigger picture of things today. If you give a terrorist $6 billion, what do you think they're going to do with it?
True.
you know,
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like stuck. Like I'm just like I work full time and then I'm school at night to do my nursing and don't have time for anything.
well, that's why I'm saying it's time for you to try to get centered, okay? Because I feel like you're too scattered. I feel like you are in a situation where you just don't know which direction to go. And that's why if you take
No,
some time to meditate and maybe do some journaling and determine priorities. You have children?
I have one. Yeah.
Okay. So your priority is your child, what's best for your child, and then of course what's best for you as well. But right now it just seems like you have to finish tying up these loose ends with these relationships that you've had some difficulties with, and move from them. Find yourself and watch for red flags in the future. Because I feel like in some ways you let people get by with things that they shouldn't get by with. Okay. It's
Okay.
about setting better boundaries for you because you're Leo. Everyone's going to want to be around Leo. You're charismatic. So,
Very much.
but
Yeah.
it's just something that setting the right boundaries. Don't let people drain your energy like they have in the past, and and make sure that when you say no to someone for any reason, that you mean it. Okay, and don't let them get by with it. So. There's better people out there for you, and I feel like you need men around you that are not as type A. Okay, so
I was like, do
I'm gonna
you see
pardon me.
anything? Like, do you see anything? Like, what's the outcome?
of the problems that you're having with these gentlemen?
Of in like general, like school and work and everything. Yeah.
Well, it's like I say, I think once you get centered, you're going to have a lot of clarity and you'll be able to move forward. I do like the school work that you're doing. That feels good. It feels like you're doing what's necessary to keep your job, okay, or get a job. And so I feel like you will get, you're going to find some employment if you don't have any right now. Um, but I feel like right now you've been emotionally distracted and it's been hard for you to think and get some clarity. So that's why I keep saying, try to get centered. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I hope that's clear enough for you. So thank you very much. I appreciate the call.
Thank you, and you have a good day.
Okay. You too. So,
Bye.
bye. I wanted to just talk a little bit about psychic ability, and I'm sure we'll get another caller here in a couple minutes. But when you have psychic ability, you're, you can't just depend on your psychic ability. Okay, we depend upon our physical senses and our psychic senses to work together. All right, and so a physical sense tells you about the immediate, gives you immediate information. This looks nice, this looks very nice, or this person looks nice. But if you have a bad feeling uh, about something or someone, it's best to step back. Okay. And I'm not trying to be political. This isn't a political show. This is a psychic show. But it just it yeah, and I use the analogy of the $6 billion that the United States government is handing over to a terrorist regime that says they want to destroy the United States and destroy Israel. Well, you don't need psychic ability to figure out too much what's going on there, but does that feel right to you? Okay, I mean, if it doesn't feel right, then it can't be right. So some people will fight to the death to defend these ideas. And I'm not trying to be political here. I'm trying to give you an exaggerated example of what goes on around you. Okay, just like the young lady we just spoke to. She may have been involved with these men and may have thought they were just wonderful, but not had a bad feeling about them. Okay, she didn't act on those feelings. She moved forward with it, and there was trouble, some trouble, big trouble. And so it's just a lesson to learn on how to use the mechanism of the relationship between your physical senses and your psychic senses. So so we have another caller, another person from north of me in Ohio, Shawnita. And Shawnita, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Shawnita. How are you today?
I'm good. And yourself?
I'm doing well. Shanita, do you have animals? Do you have
Good.
dogs around you? Do you have any animals?
No,
Do you have a dog in spirit or something? I don't know why I'm hearing barking
I
around. I don't
had.
know what
We
this is.
had a. Oh no, we had a dog, but he lived with my husband's grandma now.
Oh, he lives with your husband's grandma now. Okay. Do you miss the dog at all?
Yeah,
You do miss him. Okay.
a little bit. I do.
Little bit. Okay. All right. So it just seems to me that there's some issues around you, or any financial issues that you're worried about, or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a specific question about that? Because it seems like you worry about it, and it seems to me like you are worried that you're going to have more month than money. I'm not laughing about it, but a lot of people are facing that right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense, and that I do. I worry about it daily. Like, oh my God, when is this gonna get better? I
Yeah,
got a new
yeah.
job, but yeah, it still don't seem like I got enough money.
Well, this is a time to sharpen your pencil, and this is a time to make some decisions. You're going to have to do without certain things, but it's a time that we're all going to get through. But it's like I was telling you earlier. Have you been listening to the entire program or just tuning in?
I just tuned in.
Okay. Well, we've been talking a little bit about the astrology and about where Pluto is placed right now. And if you're not an astrologer, you're going, well, this guy's crazy. Who cares where Pluto is? But actually, as happens to be in the same spot it was during the American Revolution. And that was a very tumultuous time in the United States, a lot of hard times. The Continental Congress didn't have any money. They were in debt. And Americans were fighting amongst themselves because some were royalists and some were patriots, and so it was a tough time. We're doing that now, and then we had foreign adversaries as well, just as we have now. And then in other parts of the world, you had places like France where there was a great deal of unrest right after the American Revolution, and so this is a kind of a similar time, and so this is when cooler heads are going to have to come into play at some point in time because our weapons are bigger, the destruction is more, and the responsibility is greater. And as far as you're concerned, you have great responsibilities, but you're going to just have to kind of go with the flow, and just know that if you can't meet an obligation, then you just have to let it go, okay? Because you can't help it. It's not that you're being
Right.
irresponsible. It's not that you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing. It's just that you're doing the best that you can and pay what you can. So that's kind of where I'm at for you, Shanita. And is there another question, another area that I can look at for you?
Well, I think I'm like the only other thing that's really on my mind heavy is that my dad, like he has an addiction, and one of his girlfriends has been contacting me, and I'm like, just leave me alone about it, because he's been like that all my life. So I'm like, I just want to know if he's going to get better ever.
Well, I'm not sure what you can do about it. I mean, it's up to him. Um, I'm I don't feel like he's really going to get better. It feels like this is a grown man and he's made his decision that this is what he wants to do. Is this drinking that he does? Is it drinking?
It's drugs.
Drugs? Okay. I didn't want to go to drugs immediately, but the drinking is a drug. I just don't feel like this. I can't tell you his life is in danger at this time because it doesn't feel like it is, but it feels like he's going to want to do what he wants to do. Okay. And if his girlfriend doesn't approve of it, then she has the decision, but to move on. But to ask you to change it, I don't know how you can do that because he's
Yeah.
an adult. So so
Yeah.
I'm not proselytizing. I'm not passing judgment. I'm just telling you where the energy is for me. It just feels like this is a man that's made his decision up, and that's what he's going to do. Okay. And it's another thing that
Okay.
it's beyond your control, and you just have to love him for who he is, and just tell him that you don't like what he's doing, and you want him to change. But if he unless he wants to change, he's not going to. Okay.
Right.
So
Okay.
so thank you, Shawnita. I appreciate the call, and I wish you the very best. Hang in there. We're all in the same boat together. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye.
All right.
Okay. So we're back here, and we were talking a little bit about psychic abilities. I wanted to tell you tonight I'm starting my Sitting with Spirit series. It's about mediumship. So my students who have gone through the psychic journeys development classes are eligible to join the mediumship classes. And I like to teach people a little bit about their psychic abilities before they get into mediumship because it's a different space for me at least. And I feel like if you know your psychic senses well, then you're going to do better as a medium. And so I've talked a lot about psychic profiles. Well, tonight I'm gonna introduce the mediumship profile. So there's lots of different types of mediums. We've talked about those before. We've talked about evidential mediums, trance mediums, and physical mediums in the past, and all of them are unique. And then there's another form, and it's called channeling. Channeling is when some people might say it's a trance, but it's kind of like when an entity can take someone over. It's not from an exorcism. I don't do that, but they may take on a different voice. They may even take on a different personality, but they can come out of it. They can do it at will. It's not like a schizophrenia or a mental disorder. But they invite someone to come into them, and they have something to say. So that's what they do. But for me, I'm more of an evidential medium, and that's the kind of work that I do. But tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about how to get into mediumship. We're going to talk about the validity of it, the validity of mediumship, and the value. The validity comes from the belief in the continuity of life. We believe that we have a life after this life, and that we continue when our body no longer can support our soul. So we have that spiritual life. That's when our relationships change from being physical and spiritual to just spiritual, you see. So we need to pay attention to those in spirit because they do speak to us, or they do let their presence be known. I had a client the other day that was telling me that their father had been an electrical engineer, and before he passed away, and that the lights are constantly flickering, and different things are going on, and so they feel like that's their dad coming in and letting them know that he's okay, and that he's doing well in the spirit world, and he's still around them. So it's kind of neat to do that, to be able to sense your loved ones being in spirit and still being around you. Then I think that's a good thing. But it's not just loved ones who are in spirit. There are friends. There are ancestors that you didn't know that can come in. We have elementals that come in. Of course, angels. We've been talking a lot about angels. We'll get back to talking about angels soon. It's just that today I felt like it's just a sad day because we have to deal with so much hatred in the world, and that's such a negative energy. It's just a hateful time, a time when it's just, if you want to see good and evil, this is when good and evil are really at battle, and evil takes its toll, and it's a lot of energy for good to use to overcome it. It usually does, but we hope that it does this time as well. But it's not easy to overcome evil. And I was telling you I was gonna talk about Lucifer one of these days, and so today I was going to do that before all this stuff happened. But Lucifer, he's kind of the root of this evil in the Middle East, for as far as I'm concerned, because Lucifer did not like mankind, and he especially did not like the chosen people. So it's just one of those things that is written in the Bible, and I've done a lot of research on it, and I found some interesting things about this character, and certainly not promoting him in any way. But at one time, he was the greatest of all angels, and became arrogant, became obnoxious, and became very, very self-centered, and and when he didn't have his way, he rebelled, and other people had to, or other angels had to come into play. That may be all I'm going to say about him. And then if we don't have a guest next week, I'll talk to you about Michael, okay, who was said to have been Lucifer's mentor when he was young. So we're getting ready to wrap up our program for this week. And so once again, I want to thank you. I want to thank the two ladies that called in. I hope they listen to the program and call in more often because I think we have something to offer. I feel like we do some things here on the show that can be beneficial for you, and I hope that you will take to heart some of the things that we say. Tomorrow night, I have my meetup. We're going to be talking about empaths. So if you want to join the Dallas Visionary Meetup, not the Dallas, it's called Beyond Metaphysics now, but it's every second Wednesday of the month. So with that, we're going to start closing the show down. I appreciate you once again. Well, I'm John Cappello. This is the Psychic Side on the A1R Psychic Radio Network. I want to thank my sponsor, Miracles of Joy, for hanging in there with me. And if you want to purchase something, go to their website, miraclesofjoy.net. I might be .com. You have to look and see. But you get a 25% discount if you use PS0223. So once again, we'll be here next week. We'll be talking a little bit more about angels, and hopefully the world will still be here. So with that, I want to thank my producer, Dave, for all that he does. He does a great job for me. And I look forward to talking to you next week here on the Psychic Side. So long for now. I'm John Cappello. Bye-bye.